There's a lot of people, especially our younger children, they cannot speak for themselves. I like to be the voice for our victims.
Whether they've come in our doors because they're a victim of sexual assault, physical assault, or whatever, it's not a great day. And they need somebody who's compassionate, who's going to listen, let them tell their story, guide us in what they need done, and then see them through getting all the services that they need.
When a victim has gone through a traumatic experience, to make it through the criminal justice system, they need a connection with somebody in it. They need to trust that person. And we never know really who that's going to be. Sometimes it's the officer, it's the first responder, sometimes it's an advocate, sometimes it's been the prosecutor. But what we get from the violence response team is more trusted people for that victim to work with and to connect to and to trust. And that will ultimately get us to a better place on the other side of things for follow-up care, mental health, and just an all-around better experience through what I believe is a very harsh criminal justice system for a victim.
Me personally, some of the patients that I've seen, I too have went through what they went through and didn't have a person that I could go talk to help me or assist me. So with that being said, because I've also experienced something that they have experienced, it just helps me assist them a little bit more.
We all just want to be as supportive as we can. We know that our patients are coming to us after experiencing a traumatic event. We're here to support them, surround them, and provide them whatever supports they need.
This department, we're more trauma-informed. Whereas a person comes in with a broken limb, you heal them, you might put them in a cast so it can heal. These type of injuries, these are more substantial because they affect a person's livelihood. It affects the way their relationships with their family members, their community.
Being at a hospital can be very scary, especially after you have been through any type of assault. So having someone there supporting you, showing you through the steps, and then having someone reach out to you afterwards to make sure that you're still doing okay and you don't need additional support is just a great benefit for those victims who do come into the hospitals.
The criminal justice system by its nature is an adversarial system. And so having a victim be met with the care and compassion that they are when they come into the Bon Secours program from the very beginning sets our prosecution up for success. To have a victim treated the way they need to be treated immediately to get the medical care they need, in addition to have the evidence gathered that we need for court, helps keep a victim engaged through one of the hardest times of their life.
One child that actually sticks out a lot, she didn't really want to talk. Once we got to the hospital, the team actually sat there and was very kind, and the child actually opened up. And so was able to get more information, and they went over the exam and stuff with the child. That was very touching the way that worked.
So a forensic nurse is a nurse that specializes in working with victims of abuse and neglect. We handle the medical aspect of things and also aid in handling the legal aspect of care.
The Bon Secours Violence Response Team is such a vital part of the hospital system because those who are victims of violence come in to not only get medically treated, but sometimes do want that legal help as well.
This team is absolutely critical to many of our cases. We have used the response team as a witness, as an evidence gatherer, and as really a partner in a lot of our cases that involve domestic violence and sexual violence, as well as child abuse.
The violence response team and the model that it has is truly unique to our area. Specifically, I think it is most helpful in terms of keeping victims engaged in the process.
I had a good friend whose daughter went to school in another state, and she was assaulted within the first month. Violently assaulted. And she went to this tiny little community hospital. They didn't know what to do. And I called Bonnie, and I called Sarah Jennings, who was one of her nurses at the time. They spoke to the nurses down there. They helped guide them in the testing that needed to be done, the collection of evidence that needed to be done. There was a big misperception around the medication that she needed to have administered just to protect her after that assault.
I think the violence response team is so valuable to this area because when you're dealing with people who have dealt with an amazingly difficult time in their life, they're looking for help, they're looking for support. And one of the things that, as a person of faith, that I find that's extremely important is to being able to help those. And sometimes you can see and you know the people that you're helping, but many times you don't.
What makes Bon Secours so special is that this is a part of a ministry. This is a program that was needed years ago. This is a great thing that's happening, and hopefully this is just the beginning of it catching on.
Often these victims come into the emergency department and they have to give up their clothing, right? It's evidence. They were being given, scrubs and granny panties. We saw that as a need and did an underwear collection. It sounds so weird, but being able to meet them where they are and make them have a little bit of grace and feel like they had power over something, which seems such a small thing, but if you're a college-age student, you're just going to feel even more separated, isolated. So I just think the commitment to care is what I've seen across the board. And once, people get engaged with the program and understand what they're doing, that same commitment spreads.
That's the great thing about being part of this community, is that my role as a prosecutor is one small piece of this, but the violence response team is an all-encompassing part of this process. And so my role may be a specific part that I step in and then step out, but the violence response team is there in the beginning and then throughout the process, and then actually can be coming in throughout the process after my part's over. That's what empowers people to stay involved throughout. And that's what helps a victim make it through from start to finish.
What I would want people to know about this team is the work that we're doing, the fundraising that we are providing just is impacting and changing lives. And for a horrible situation at times, this is also a rewarding one that you feel when you are helping others.
I would love to see this program replicated, not only across the Commonwealth, but other states. This is a great model, I think, for expanding services, raising awareness, education, and providing care really for a very underserved community that desperately needs it.
One of the things that I learned very early on when I first joined the board is you have an idea of who can help, like what are we looking for? And from a child wanting to set up a lemonade stand to a business owner who wants to donate or have matching donations for gifts, anyone can help, and that's the best part about this.